oops, it's day 14 of 111 days of just showing up. And uh, you may notice if you look at the titles on my videos, there's no days 2 to 13, and that's because in those days I was in flux, is the polite way to put it. Rhymes with something else. Life was pretty crazy, because my head was just like distorted, and I was literally driving 2 hours back and forth between Sydney and a place called the Central Coast, here in Australia, visiting with my family, because I felt very much like I couldn't be alone. And I even felt like, oh my God, I can't even look after my dog right now. So, yeah, that's how little I felt I had a handle on things. And that's very much to do with my, this feeling, this knowing that I'm on a, a spiritual journey right now, which brings a whole new depth of importance to things. So I really didn't know what to do with myself at all. I've been trying to give up smoking, and that's become like an obsession and a huge stress on me, where I wish I could just get on with meditating and doing breathing and maybe having a cigarette here and there, and instead in between, and just, I might have made a lot more progress. But there has been an impetus because there's a lot going on in the cosmos right now. And no mistake, there's also a lot going on in the world right now. It affects us all. There's this thing called the Schumann Resonance, which is basically the frequency of the earth itself, which has been off the charts consistently for these past 2 weeks. And when I found that out, when I sort of started clocking that again, I realized, oh my God, okay, yeah, that's real. I'm not imagining that. And I gosh, I just thought that makes sense to me. I can feel something. It felt like electricity. So, was I showing up? Um, I guess I was showing up because I had to, but I really felt like I wanted to escape, and I really felt like I wasn't coping, and I felt like there was nowhere to run to, because what happens when you go through a spiritual awakening is that you actually do away with the stuff that you used to use to cope with, like numbing yourself. And that doesn't have to be through addiction, through substances. That can just mean putting things on the shelf immediately. Something comes up and you numb it by just sort of blanking yourself out, or keeping yourself busy, or whatever you use. And run. So numbing and running and hiding, avoiding, all those things that we humans often use just to get by. When you go through an awakening, you actually learn to sit with yourself. You get in tune with your own nervous system. And so I was just sort of going, what's going on with me? I'm not able to draw on those things. Have I completely lost touch with the field, the quantum field, with my higher self, with the higher consciousness, with source consciousness, God, whatever you want to call it? Have I completely lost touch? Have I been kind of, excommunicated? And that's a real thing that does happen if you don't stay tuned into your, spidey senses. You will lose them. So for the last 14 days, so I'm going to call this day 14 of 111. And by the way, this exercise was set by a woman called Courtney, who runs the Divinely Aligned channel, and I might pop that in the comments at least. It was just an exercise that she went through, that helped her unlock some things and get her tuned into where she wanted to be. So I took her advice, and I thought, okay, I'm going to do this. And my decision was to actually do one YouTube video a day for 111 days. So sadly, I haven't done that. I've done a few here and there, but because I've been in between my house and my basically my family's house, and I've sort of been with and without my companion animal, Jack, which has made me feel quite alone as well, and out of sorts, out of my comfort zone. I haven't kept up, but have I showed up for myself in my daily, just alone with it, with no audience? Because it's not about performing; it's about presence. Um, I don't think so. I'm gonna say no. There's quite a few strikes against my name, but I'm not going to beat myself up, because all of these videos, everything that I ever post, it's not for performance to say, "Look at me, aren't I a good girl?" It's to say I'm human, and we are all spiritual beings going through a human experience, and I just want other people. Oop, itchy nose, confirmation. That was the right thing to say. That's my little spidey senses radar detector. Yeah, so I'm forgiving myself. I do that a lot. I'm always forgiving myself. It's like, I'll get there. But no matter what, there's all this talk right now, and it's very real, about the earth vibrating very differently, and that's taking us into what they call the fifth dimension. It's real. I've felt it, and I think that's we've all felt it. But some of us are a bit more sensitive than others, and who have perhaps been through this spiritual awakening, especially in this past year, we're really feeling it, and it's really hurting. It's like it's visceral. You can feel it in your brain, you feel it in your body, and it brings up a lot of stuff. So there's a lot of stuff that's been coming up from our past, a lot of emotions and thoughts, self image, the way we've seen ourselves has been coming up to be purged, to be cleansed, and to be gotten rid of. And yeah, I have definitely felt that. So again, it's beyond forgiveness. It's actually acknowledging that that's what's going on, and getting on with it, and just keep showing up for yourself. And God, if you're struggling with an addiction like I am at the moment, just keep trying. That's what I keep doing every day. I give it another go. And they say that, especially with smoking, with smoking itself, it's not just about the nicotine, because when you stop smoking, the nicotine has left your body within 3 days. It's a mental addiction. It's oh, what do I do without my best friend? Because for a lot of us, it feels like a friend. And it often is that's what we use before we learn to work with our own nervous system. So, I think it's time, and I've said that a few times, but I think it's time to say, yeah, I'm going to trust in myself, like myself enough, and I've been getting some stuff around that, about how much do I really like myself? Have I ever really liked or loved myself? That's been very real for me. It's been very difficult. Many tears have ensued. So yeah, I think that's what I'm declaring now for myself, and for anybody else that might be going through the same kind of journey, is that it's about time to try and trust in your ability to work with your own nervous system and your mind, and to say, look, yes, this is uncomfortable, but you are capable, and the more you trust in yourself, the less it's going to be an issue. So anyway, so here I am, showing up, not showing off at all, feeling quite, humbled by the last couple of weeks, and, realizing I've been doing a lot of running, and realizing no matter where you go, there you are. So and I've made some big mistakes because I haven't just sat there and stayed tuned in with myself. So the universe being what it is, it's an information system. It's given me a lot of feedback, and there's been a lot of, negative, as you would call it, feedback, and some things that I now have to deal with, because I made the mistakes. So I'm not talking ill on myself. I'm speaking love over myself, forgiveness, unconditional love, because that's what the highest vibration is. That's what God is unconditional love. And anything that happens in the world, really, when you say, if God is real, how can he cause suffering if he is a he? Well, it's not. It's an energy. But no, it's really basically humans with their own free will make decisions that cause their own suffering, or the way that they perceive things gives them that sense of suffering. But if you sit in the now and realize that there is no such thing as fear. Fear is just, what is it? I can't remember the acronym that somebody came up with, but it's something we fabricate, because nothing really can harm us, because we are eternal. We are God experiencing itself, through our form, our temporary forms. So, there's nothing that can't be worked through, and you can only work through things when you are in a state of love, because you know what it's like when you make decisions based in fear, which is what I've been doing in the last 2 weeks. That's when things go wrong. I've proved it for myself. But if I stay in a state of love, which is what I'm doing right now, is just saying, I'm not perfect, and yes, I know I still haven't given up smoking completely, but I'm getting better at it. I'm having those wins, those days, those moments, those hours, even if I get a few hours where I say, no, I'm not having a cigarette, and I'm not thinking about it, and I'm going to puff on something else instead, or eat something, or go for a walk, and all those things. They're all wins. And I feel self-love when I do that. So when I'm making decisions coming from a place of love, things go right for me. So I'm going to focus on that. I'm sending this out there to everyone who may be going through some sort of mismatch with what they want to be and who they're showing up as. But it doesn't matter, as long as you just keep on showing up, just keep going, and know that the closer you get to love, the more wonderful life becomes. So smile first, and let the universe, which is a mirror, let that mirror smile back at you. Because if you look at that mirror and you grumble and you cry and you say, I fucked that up and I'm no good, and then the universe is listening and it'll give you more of the same. And I just proved that to myself. So it's all good though. I'm a tough one, and the lessons we learn are themselves are glorious things. So let's go with that. Let's turn our pain into glory. Let's alchemize whatever looks not so fun, that maybe comes from a place where we were in darkness, and yields the results that don't look so great. Let's take them and put some love into them, and forgiveness, and hope, and see what comes of that, because it will work. It works the same way as it works no matter which end of the scale of the vibes of the frequencies you're on. It's always going to be a mirror to how you feel and what your intentions are. And the one thing to remember always is the universe is always wanting you to win. So you've got that on your side. So let's roll with that. Have a gorgeous day, and don't allow fear or urgency, or the hatred going around, or all the stuff going around. Don't let it get to you, because it will only make you feel down, and then you're no good for anybody else, and you're certainly no good for yourself. And you matter, and only you matter, and you can only control your life. That's a fact. All right. I love you all. Have a gorgeous time. And feel free to drop a comment or a like, and tell me about your story, perhaps. How are you showing up? What have you been through, and how are you transmuting your pain into joy? Lots of love. Bye.